morning, folks. It's a beautiful, I think the wind's blowing about 362.7 mile an hour. I think that's what the weatherman said. It's starting to shove this corn down too over here. Not terrible, like kind of more right under the ears, so you can still kind of get underneath of it, but it still just makes a miserable mess. The toughest thing is when you're loading trucks, the grain carts, just filling the loose corn kind of around the edges of where it's dumping will blow back, and it just creates for a havoc on a day. There have been days where we've just stopped because it's just gotten too windy. We're hauling to a close bend, so we're not rolling up our tarps. We're leaving them out. That's kind of the biggest thing in a heavy wind event is those tarps will get caught by the wind.
Tom, you gonna get steam full, or are you gonna need to take some off the road?
Our top tarp systems do fairly well in high wind. They're Thunderstone. I think it's Thunderstone.
I'll be full when I get to the west end, Dan.
It's Thunderstone. I think they're the earlier ones, 5,000 systems. They kind of hold down the ends, and we also put the straps over the center just for that reason. So they work well. It's just, I mean, there comes an extent to where wind can just still create havoc on a lot of stuff. In case you don't believe me how windy it is out here. See, when he picks, by the time it gets back, this stuff's breaking off right underneath the ear here. You can see that. Not good. This isn't bad stock quality, it's just really high winds. Oh well. So it just got too windy for us today. We would break a new land and that corn would just go flat as soon as we could go by it and stuff and see it. And so we decided just to quit. Right now we need to fix our grain bagger anyway, our grain bag loader. The other day I was driving it out to the field to get it set up, and I turned around and both tires are on fire, or the calipers are on fire. So apparently the brakes, I made sure there's a steering wheel along the side that I make sure I release, and there was no pressure on the brakes, but somehow the calipers must have been seized up or whatever, but they just created a lot of heat, ruined all the calipers and all that stuff. So we're heading to the shop now. Dad and Tom there, I think, are there right now. So we're gonna fix that so it's ready tomorrow. Hopefully the wind isn't blowing as bad tomorrow, but it's just creating a lot of havoc out there. So
Hi.
So did you get an all new one?
Huh?
Did you get an all new one?
Yeah, this is all new, except this piece.
Oh.
But it's just like the other one. So this was converted from.
Well, I knew I had to redo the whole thing. Did you get that one off?
No, I haven't got that one on.
Oh.
Raleigh just got home. That's a long time. How are you, buddy? Oh, I'm kind of dirty, but it's always good to see you. Have you been out in the wind?
No.
No. I don't blame you.
First things first. Yesterday was really windy. It's actually calmed down now, but I think we're supposed to get a little more wind today. Not as bad. We'll just have to see how it goes. But it was tough yesterday. I won't lie. I noticed across Twitter, though, a lot of us in Nebraska got hit pretty good with wind, and it just started knocking over everybody's corn. That's not one hybrid, not just one company. It's everybody. It was just I've seen reports of like 50+ mile-an-hour winds, so that just, corn's dying, it's dead, it's been froze. So I mean, that stock's just getting weaker now all the time, and so it's time to get it out. The only bad thing we're facing right now is our leg ain't done, so we're kind of missing that storage right now. I don't know. It's one of those stressors where It would be a lot simpler if it was all done. We still got a bin and a half to fill ourselves, and so we got a little more space there, but it doesn't take too long to fill those bins. So we might have to start bagging more than what we thought, but it is what it is. So that's kind of what we're facing right now. But yeah, corn's going down now too, but it's some's better than others, but we'll just see how it goes. So good morning, Margaret. How you doing? In case if you haven't seen any videos before, I named my combine Margaret. I know it's not Beastbine or Goliath. Why would you want to spend all day with Goliath? Yeah, well, hooking up to the fuel trailer. Excuse me. So right now we got the bin full. We kind of have a little overrun, so we're sending those trucks to town, but we're gonna start bagging corn now. And what that is those big long tubes. If you've ever seen where I kind of started my channel, we were actually unbagging them, so that's kind of what they look like if you want to go back. But no, we're gonna start setting that up here and then start dumping into that, just so we can keep rolling here. So we'll go from there. As you can see, he's just dumping into that big funnel over there, and it just slowly pushes that bagger forward. So on that bagger, in that funnel area, he just dumps it, and underneath that funnel is just probably like I don't know how long it is, probably like a 6-foot auger maybe, and it's just horizontal, and it just shoves that into the bag. And what that does is it fills that bag. It's just what you get is a bag that's open-ended on both sides. It's just a big tube that we fill, and you seal the one end with a couple boards, staple it, get a nice seal on it, get it started, and then you go in, and what creates the pack is on that grain bagger there's brakes, and that's what pushes it back against that inside the bag. And so when you're dumping it in there, it just creates a nice pack. And along that bag there's a little measuring, so if you get too much stretch, I think on that one it shows like 11, it's got like a bar along it, and you go along and measure it. And if it starts going beyond that point, you're putting too much corn in it, or packing it too much, or you could be putting not enough in. And so you just want to be under that 11-inch or whatever it says on the bag. So that's kind of how that works anyway. We've been using bags since 2009. They've worked great so far. We're actually trying to, with that leg system, is trying to get a little more balance though, and not using quite so many bags. The reason is the unfortunate thing is that's only about, each bag, the 300 footers, we get about 13 to 14,000 bushels in them. So it doesn't take super long with 2 combines to fill those up. Yeah, just trying to eliminate that, and those bags are, I think, 450 pounds to put on, so it's a little bit of labor intensive just loading it. It works smooth other than that, like unloading them goes fast. It's not a bad way to store grain, it's just, I wish it could be a little bit more per bag, and they do make longer ones, I don't know if our bagger would be able to lift them up, is the only thing on it. They might be able to do a 50-foot longer or 400-foot, but I know they make some 500-foot long bags, but I don't think that winch system would quite lift it up. So there's a little work to put those bags on. Like I said, those bags are 450 pounds a piece. You know, it's kind of recommended if you do it much, 2 guys at least, put it on. Since my brother and I just stopped, we just all stopped, threw it on, and then after I left, they sealed it up. That's what they were doing there at the end, is taking 2 boards to seal it up at the end, and then they start, and then that bag just kind of creates that, once you put corn into it, just kind of seals that end up even better. So no, you can put corn in there. It keeps in condition fairly well. What we do is usually that's usually the first stuff that we'll haul in the off season, being January through March. We usually like to get them all picked up before we start planting corn, namely because they're in the field and you got to get them out of the way. Another thing is just because it's temporary storage, you know, it gets you past that, gets you through harvest.
You have on that one time overloaded your garden.
And what we're putting in there now is about 16.5%, and it'll stay that. It creates a seal, airtight seal, pretty much. Rodents will sometimes, like a mouse, will kind of eat a hole in the bottom there. At first, when we first started doing, we had disc a path for it, but we found out that rodents would like to could easily dig under there easier, so they tend to do it more. So you get a few more mouse holes. So what we do is we just drive our tractors over, we kind of mash down the corn stalks and put it on firm ground, and we tend to help that rodent problem underneath. And we usually don't have too much problems with them. If you go to my last video, that one of those, my earlier videos, we had one where it was kind of around a creek area and some corn leaked out the front, so some coons and stuff got in there and kind of tore up the end, and plus it was in a mud hole, so I couldn't grab the unloader enough to get it started, so that was kind of a problem. But no, like I said, the bad thing about them is they only hold, like that bag will hold about 13 to 14,000 bushel of corn, so you gotta do that somewhat often when you're running 2 machines anyway. So Mommy stayed home and watched George.
All day.
Well, it's sure beautiful tonight. Morning, it's Wednesday. A little breezy out, 48 degrees. I think I'm gonna run over, maybe start putting on a grain bag. I'll just pull away from this one, leave it, and then seal it up after I get the other grain bag on. So, let's see how this works. This right here is the braking system on the grain bagger. You just want to make sure it's all the way released before pulling out. Looks like they put the pressure off. It's just I'm going to make sure. All I'll do here is just pull away from the bag, and that'll leave enough to hopefully seal off the end. Go from there. this strap holds the flaps of this bag back, and then you lock it underneath. On these bags, this is drier corn. This is about 15% moisture in this one. They lay flatter. That one over there was a little more like 16, 17, and it'll stand taller. So that's just the differences in how dry corn versus wetter corn will kind of act. Well, after I got about 10 pounds of dust in my eyes, we're starting to pick again. All dang, guys, I did it again. Found a hole, it just caved in from the edge. Well, we got it pulled out though. What these are pivot tracks. We often get like ridiculed for like having washouts. You know, it's the way we farm. Well, what these are tracks that the pivots follow. And what happens is we had a lot of rain this year, and they just got cut out. I mean, we no-till, we strip-till, so it's not like we're tilling these things deep. And when we strip-till, we just use solid tillage, but just when you get a ton of rain running off these hills, it'll still cut out soil. Another thing about our washouts that you guys kind of see that we're doing.
How full are you, Steve?
That 2019's been an extraordinary year as far as rainfall in our area. We've never had a year quite ever like this. So when you see these, understand this is kind of our first time dealing with this amount of rain that we've had to deal with and volumes. And so we're looking at different ways to try to control those washouts as well too, whether it's maybe putting some kind of cover crop in those areas, or just finding some way to kind of better manage those. So when I'm kind of going through here showing you these things, there's years that we've had to, you know, fix a few things here and there, but we haven't had anything quite like this. And the bad thing is we had a short spring. We didn't have a lot of time to do a lot of fixing on a lot of these, so this is just kind of what we're dealing with now.
It's not one you're familiar with cooking. The stew or
this interest in being involved in agriculture in your adult life come from?
So I got asked the question if we use the stock devastators by I think Yetter makes them. There might be other companies, but what they do is they go down there, and the idea behind them is to run over the stalks. I can't remember exactly. They kind of got, they're a roller that kind of just grinds up the stalks even more. We don't run them, and the reason why we don't do that is because we like to leave that stalk standing out there. And the reason why we like to leave it a little bit stalks is we really grind up that residue with the Culmer stalk rolls. And if you sorry, I'm turning around at the end. I'm a guy, I can't multifunction. But no, the stock rollers really grind up that residue. The problem is if you mat it all down, we'll tend to get these winds that are coming through like right now, and they'll just blow all those stalks off, and they'll tend to pile up in the field. And so that standing stock kind of acts as a little bit of a windbreak to help keep that kind of distributed easily, because still in some really windy conditions you'll still get those buildups of residue. So and where we do minimum till, like strip till or no till, we like to have that trash evenly distributed so we don't have to make another tillage pass to distribute that out better. So that's why we don't run the devastators on our farm. But like guys that I know that do tillage, it just helps break down that trash more. So that's why some guys use it and some guys don't. It's just whatever that guy's doing for his tillage and on his farm. So the stuff really dried down really well, almost too well lately. Here about a week ago we had a frost, maybe it's more than that. Anyway, We're picking a lot of 15 to 17.5% moisture corn right now, which we thought we would never get there, just being the way the year was, but it's really dried down anyway, so kind of got that going for us, I guess. Thank God for cabs. So yeah, it was kind of windy out there. Near the end, I wore a hole in my clean grain elevator bottom trapdoor piece, so I got to find something to stick in there to get us by until we get excuse me, a different trapdoor. But nope, corn bloom down, so a lot of it's lodged to some degree, so we'll just have to deal with that the rest of the season. A lot of the guys in the area are dealing with it. It's not one hybrid. Well, I mean, some hybrids take it better than the others, but everybody's affected to some degree. So yeah, especially in central Nebraska here, I know for sure. But yeah, it is what it is, I guess, and we'll have to deal with it. Hopefully we can keep rolling, and yeah, thanks for watching O'Neill Family Farms, guys. We'll catch you next time. Bye.